Welcome to Shoptalk
number
18.
You're running out of fingers.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back. We were just talking about things you can.
By this, he means last Friday when you saw this
Friday.
Shoptalk.
Yes, in the last edition of Friday Shop Talk, we talked about how to avoid warranty work, I suppose, in just the way you design your guitar, and just how to design your guitar to be less prone to cracks
And to
breaks.
avoid repairs, really.
To avoid repairs.
Yeah, let's just keep it away from those guys. No, I mean, it's lovely that they have the business. Like we were saying, it is a craft, and actually, it will. No matter if you do all these things, you're still going to at times it's going to be something.
Yeah.
It just is. So another area which could be an issue are, and this one actually had it. We're just using this old Harmony, which Zach has started messing around with back in the days before he even made guitars, and then he started making guitars, and he said no more repairs. Even before he finished. There's a crack here.
Yeah.
Why does that happen?
Well, this one is actually a little bit odd because, well, it does happen, but this cracked the block. The neck rotated, cracked the block, and the side started. The crack started traveling down the side. And obviously, the crack will want to travel down the side because it's like a long stretch of straight grain.
Yeah.
Right? Not that side, but
No. This side.
But how do
Yeah,
you
you can
prevent
see it.
that? So if someone was to bump their guitar on the side,
Yeah.
and it starts a crack, that crack could very well go down the side,
Right.
which is a tricky repair because how do you line all that up?
Yeah.
Some guitars have some tension in them. So as soon as you crack the side, the crack doesn't want to line up.
There's a slight twist in the sides there,
Yeah.
so it's like pops out. Like so
Yeah.
one layer is always a little bit off skew. Yeah.
But how do you prevent that?
Yeah.
The times I've seen cracked sides, often it was either they were hit really hard.
Right. Which
Or-
you can't prevent.
Yeah. Or the side was too thin. So if your side is too thin, it's going to crack really easily.
Right.
Like this is not too thin. If I push on this,
Yeah.
it's not going to crack.
Right.
But there have been guitars that I've had in the shop where I push on this lightly,
Yeah.
and it dips down.
And why do we need thin sides?
We don't.
I mean, there's just no need for thin sides.
No.
I mean, you don't want to leave it as a thick block of wood so that you're hefting around a huge.
Yeah, I mean there
is a limitation to how
Yeah.
thick you can go, but you can go pretty thick.
Yeah. By having thin sides, obviously it's weaker. It's gonna crack really easily. Thicker sides, they won't crack as easily. Cracks won't travel as far as easily.
Right.
Another thing you can do on the inside is put braces across.
Right.
So a crack will only crack between this brace and this brace, which is smart. Or you can laminate your sides.
Right.
And that's probably the safest way to go.
Right.
If you laminate your sides, now if you're laminating 2 layers of wood with the grain going the same way,
It could still crack.
you could still have cracks, but it's definitely gonna reinforce it
Right.
a lot. You would have to
Yeah.
hit the side really hard.
And even with the grains going the same direction, the fact that 2 grain lines line up exactly,
Yeah,
it's still going to be pretty,
it can be, yeah.
a little less. Like,
Cracks can still travel.
yeah.
But if you have something that where your grain is going across the grain from the sides, then it's more reinforced, right?
Right.
So plywood sides, I think it makes sense. If you add mass to the sides, you're
He doesn't mean a block of plywood. He just takes it.
Yeah. No, not quite.
For some of us out there who think of plywood as being that material you buy for the cushion.
Yeah, good one side.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. But where was I going with?
Yeah,
oh, mass,
plywood.
adding mass to the sides.
Yeah.
By laminating your sides,
Yep.
it can actually benefit you in terms of sound. It depends what sound you're looking for.
Right.
But oftentimes it will, you'll get more projection and more volume out of your guitar, more clarity, and
yeah, and there's really no need for too thin a sides. Like it's not like it's not like if I could just push it a little bit further, I might get.
There's definitely there are some builders that want to build very lightweight guitars.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's
so there
one
is
area.
that one area.
But don't do it on the sides.
Right.
The sides are, I think, one of the areas where you don't want to just go
right.
thin. So yeah. Cracks traveling down the
Yeah.
sides. Now, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Braces glued along the grain in the last video. Brace ends popping loose and rattling. That's a big one. I see this done a lot, but luthiers will glue their braces on, and either they won't tuck their braces under another brace, or they'll leave it tall at the end.
Right.
So if you have a rigid brace glued on a thin top, and then you bump the top, the brace is going to pop loose.
Right.
Right. Because it's rigid.
And then the top will return to whatever, but now the brace is off.
Now it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tucking in your braces into your X brace. If you have an X brace, then your lower braces, you can tuck them in. It's gonna help prevent any future buzzing and popping of those braces.
Yeah.
The ends that aren't supported by tucking them in, then those should be tapered down or like thinner at the end.
Right.
And I guess also if you taper down really quickly, you could very easily crack the brace as well.
So make sure your taper is a gradual taper and go down to almost
gradual.
paper thin at the
It
end?
depends where you are on the top, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. For this area of the top, the lower bout, paper thin is nice. I think. Then you get the flexibility along the edges still, but your brace can still flex with the top. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because this is a big issue actually. If you're watching people who fix guitars, braces coming loose is.
It's a big one.
It is a big one.
Big one.
And it doesn't sound very good when it happens.
Yeah.
Neck. We were talking about neck actually at the end of the last one. We talked about the crack issue. There's also just the bow in the neck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so different pieces of wood have different stresses in them, or they'll react differently to constant pressure, right?
Right.
So if you have a section of the neck where the grain kind of does something squirrely, and all of a sudden, 15 years down the road, it decides to do a bit of a bow in that spot, then you have some issues, right?
Yeah.
You can't control that. We're in the 21st century, and there are materials that weren't really available way back in the day. So why not use those materials? And I'm talking about carbon fiber in this case, in the neck to make it more uniform, consistent flexibility, and something to help the wood act in a uniform way.
Just to hold the wood in its place.
Yeah.
That you want it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no denying, we love the wood, we like to let the wood breathe, but there are certain elements or certain places where wood has to be doing what we want it to do.
Yeah.
And the neck is one of them.
Yeah,
it can't be
playability wise.
Yeah.
You want the neck to act predictably.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even on top, like I think sometimes that may bow or create, but it won't really. It might actually even help the sound.
Yeah.
Again, that's another discussion for another day. But playability, the neck needs to be
Mm.
reliable. So carbon fiber and truss rod.
Yeah.
Is what we do on most of our necks.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? Bridge plates. And I'm talking about the pins at this point. The string balls digging into the bridge plate.
Right.
That's a very common issue, and oftentimes it's just because the bridge plate material is not hard enough.
Right.
So in that case, I would say use a hard material bridge plate.
Yeah.
Right? No brainer.
Yeah.
Um,
And then thin the sides, so we don't get those cracks along the sides.
oh, wait, what?
Like you were saying, don't leave it thick on the sides
Yeah.
of it, because otherwise, if it's going along the grain line, it could crack there.
Oh, yeah. But usually the bridge plate will be along the X. So
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it's diagonal
Right.
across the grain, and the brace is there.
You try and end your bridge plates on
Yeah.
the axis, just like your
Yeah.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something that I never would have thought of until I started looking inside. But yeah, for these, because that's a problem too. These could dig into
Yeah.
the top. And,
Yeah.
create problems.
Mhm.
But X bracing can make a difference there.
Yeah, definitely. So bridge plates.
There is a video about how to do your pins right.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, so the cracking of the bridge plate along the bridge pinholes, or the bridge along the bridge pinholes,
Mhm.
or the saddle. So there's a few different things happening there. There's if your saddle isn't fitting tightly, it often will tilt towards the fingerboard, right? Because the strings are pushing down on it and pulling that direction. So that tilting will often basically wedge the saddle slot.
Right.
And then what wants to happen is there's this massive saddle slot,
Yeah.
and there's a little bit of wood on either side of them.
Yeah.
So why not, if it wedges it enough, then it's just going to crack on both sides of the saddle slot.
Yeah.
Super common. Sloppy fitting saddles, also super common.
Right. Yes.
But the bridge pins, a bridge cracking along the bridge pinholes,
Mhm.
that's because the bridge pins are too tight in the
Right.
bridge pinhole.
And didn't you do a video on that?
I did.
Yeah.
So we'll link it right there.
If you haven't seen it, then you're one of the few people who are watching one of the videos and not seen that one.
Yeah, but that's a good video to watch because
Not a problem on this one.
no, that's a pinless bridge.
Hmm.
Yeah, but bridge pins, if they're too tight, if they're not fitting properly, then they're gonna they're basically gonna act as wedges to crack along those bridge pinholes.
Yeah.
And that's how they crack
Right.
stones.
Yeah.
They make holes and put wedges in them. So it's no wonder they crack if the
It's
bridge
almost
pins aren't
like
fitting properly.
it's almost like we're trying to crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So why not just go like this? Well, if you're interested in that, Mike talked about that.
Yeah.
In the video, which you can find in our list.
Yeah.
Where we had a
Shoptalk with Mike Kennedy.
yeah, and he actually still does his bridges
Pinless. Yeah.
pinless.
Which has a few benefits.
Yeah, and he talks about some of those in there.
Yeah.
So that's one way to prevent that.
Yeah. I'll also point out one more thing that happened
Yeah.
to this guitar, and this is fairly common too. On guitars with thick pick guards that are either glued on or really stuck to the top,
Mm-hmm.
often they get cracks along the side of the pick guard.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think that happened, Eric?
I don't know. Why? Because people are pushing on it right there.
No. See this side of the pick guard?
Yeah.
What does it do?
It's running right along the grain
Oh
line.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then guess what? It cracks right here.
Guess
and it
what?
cracks all the way down.
Pick guards don't expand.
Haha, they expand differently than the wood underneath.
All right.
You got it.
Ah.
So that's very common as well. Another
That's why I
common
don't
spot-
put pick guards on.
Another common spot, yeah, is along the edges of the fingerboard. because the fingerboard doesn't expand and contract as much as spruce or cedar or whatever your top
Or
is.
mahogany in this case.
Or mahogany, yeah. So oftentimes it'll crack there unless you have a reinforcing patch that goes across there. So, yeah.
Nice.
But that's a
yeah.
good rundown. There are many other things that go wrong with guitars, and it's very good to, if you're a guitar maker, to familiarize yourself with those things.
And there are some YouTube channels that are actually talking about repairs and going through some of the repairs to do, which I've watched to kind of give me an idea of what things, and this is a list of things that they deal with.
On a regular basis.
On a regular basis,
But it can all help you make better guitars, longer lasting guitars, guitars that are more dependable, guitars that play better through time. And basically machines that last.
And I want to add in, because this is what I'm thinking about, and I'm thinking along these lines, instead of talking repair, maybe talk renewal, rebuild.
Sure.
Build a new guitar from parts, if that's something that you're interested in. I think that can be super creative and fun in its own way. So if you're
great for the environment.
And so if you're into, maybe not into the repair side of things and don't want to have to deal with, which is me, but it can take you some creative, because you kind of in some ways are led in a certain direction as well. Like there's things that I know need to be improved on this because the issues have popped up, but I don't have to decide what shape or size, to make the body, or what materials to make it out of. It's already done. Kind of fun. So there's some thoughts that came from a question. Thank you very much for asking that question. I think it was Darren.
And so thanks for joining us. And if you have any other things that you do to your guitars, or any problems that commonly happen to guitars that, because I feel like this is only a little list, but every time I hear of another problem that happens with a guitar, I try to either adapt my design so that will never happen, or at least taken into consideration. So if you have any questions about problems that have happened and how to sort of go around them, I'd love to talk about it. And maybe something I don't even know about yet.
Maybe even bring up a new thing that we have to change or adapt for. So cool. Nice.
So we'll see you next week, maybe.
We'll
see.
Those of you who don't know, Zach is going to be having a baby soon-ish.
Or when this comes out, it might have been.
Or it might have already happened by the time this one comes out. So that's exciting, and so we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. But enjoy, and one of us at least will see you in the next
week.
All right. Next week or something.
Peace out.